About Hocker Grove Middle School arrival and dismissal procedures so that you know exactly what to expect when you come to school and when dismissing from school. Let's start with arrival procedures. When you come to school, please note that we have two different lanes of traffic. The first one is here on this red line. That is what we refer to as our bus loop. That's the place where buses will line up each and every day at the beginning of school and at the end of school. So right now we really want to keep all car rider traffic out of that bus loop, the semicircle in front of the building. That's the south side of the building. The lane over here, the yellow line, is our car riders loop. Families, please note that this is Johnson Drive down here on the south side of the building. You will, if you're a car rider, you will come in this bus loop here, drop off during arrival time in the lane right here next to that yellow line, circle counterclockwise around the center traffic, and then you'll exit out of the same direction as what arrival took place. Please note that this is a right turn only lane, so cars, when they're leaving that car rider loop, will need to travel westbound on Johnson Drive when they leave our campus. So we also have outlined some staggered arrival times to allow for students not to arrive at the same time. This is what the staggered arrival looks like. This is for car riders and walkers. We are hoping that they're going to be able to manage their own individual arrival time so that our buses, obviously, they will arrive as they need to be able to get everyone picked up and dropped off here at school at the right time. But car riders and walkers, we are strongly encouraging you to try to adhere to these times. The key piece here is making sure that you're noting that 8:20 is the earliest arrival time that we will accept students here at Hocker Grove. That's when the doors will open. We will have very minimal supervision outside of that 8:20 time, but from 8:20 on, we will be supervising students and making sure that everyone is staying safe. So depending on the beginning of your last name will determine the preordained arrival time for students. So Group A students will be coming to school in person on Mondays and Tuesdays. If your last name starts with the letters A through D, we'd like you to arrive at 8:20 a.m. If your last name begins with E through H, you'll arrive at 8:30, and then students with last names beginning I through Lamb, L-A-M-B, you will arrive at 8:40. Please note that school does start at 8:45, so there will be some flexibility on that time for students that are arriving at 8:40 to be able to grab breakfast and eat that before going to class. And that is our procedure for all students, that if you are eating breakfast here at school, you will be able to eat it in what we refer to as our MPR or multi-purpose room. Group B students, very similar procedure, except for you are coming on Wednesdays and Thursdays. And then if your last name starts with L-A-M-C through the letter O, you're again arriving no earlier than 8:20 a.m. You've got that 8:20 to 8:30 window, and then last name letters P through R, you are arriving at 8:30, or the window of 8:30 to 8:39, and then our S through Z students will arrive at 8:40 a.m. So please try to adhere to those procedures so that we don't have too many students arriving at the same time, and we want to make sure that we're managing our total student population here at Hocker Grove. Here's another overview again of what that arrival procedure looks like. I'll just show you here on the map where you'll go. We want our car rider students and walkers to enter here through our car rider loop. There is an entryway here that is to our auxiliary gym lobby to be able to access the building, and then you'll walk down this main hallway here and then access your classes down our exploratory hallway or in our main academic wing, which is located right here. Again, I will note that this is our MPR, or a multi-purpose room, sometimes referred to as a cafeteria, and that is if students are eating breakfast at school, they can pick that up and eat that here in our MPR and then go to class. Our bus riding students will be dropped off here in our bus lane as indicated by the red line here. They will enter through the south door of our MPR, grab breakfast if that's something they'd like to participate in. Highly encouraged, so we can make sure that we've got our meal for the day and start off school in the right note. And then again, accessing the exploratory classrooms if that is where your Eagle Hour start for the day is, or into our academic wing, which is located here and here. This is another view of our building. This is just zoomed in a little bit more on the courtyard and allowing you to be able to see where our students in. Our main office is located over here behind this beautiful tree, but students are going to be entering, if you're a bus rider, you will be entering through the south door of the MPR right here. Let's talk dismissal procedures. At the end of the day, we're going to do a very similar process to what we just talked about with arrival procedures, except for in reverse. We want to stagger the dismissal to allow for students to be able to maintain proper social distancing. In this video, you can see this is the south side of our main hallway. Students will exit onto the courtyard here. Our office is located here in the video. They'll walk straight across the the courtyard, and then you'll note that there are bus signs located on our pillars here so that you can see exactly where your bus is located if you are a bus rider student. We do want you to be aware that it is very important that we not stand and congregate here on the courtyard, because we won't be able to dismiss other classes until the previous group of classes has been dismissed, until that previous group of classes has been able to load up on the buses, so that we know that we have plenty of space on the courtyard for that next group of students to be able to line up. There are 2 lanes of buses here, so we'll have a street side of buses, which is the farthest away from the building, closest to the street, and then we refer to the nearest lane as our school side of buses. And so based on where you see your bus on this board will determine where the appropriate place for you to go to be able to find your bus. So again, you'll see on the board that we have a street side lane of buses. If your bus is toward the front of the board, you know that your bus is going to be toward the front of this line. If your bus is toward the back or the left side here of this loop, it's going to be toward the back of the bus lane. So just be aware of that. As you exit the building onto the courtyard, that's how you're going to know exactly how to find your bus at the end of the school day. Here's another view of the larger school so that we can start referring to not just our bus riders who will line up in the loop right here on the south side of the building, but on the southwest side of the building, we also have our car riders. Families will line up. If they get here a little bit early before the end of the day, they will line up here in 2 different lanes, very similar to what we have for our bus loop. A second lane on this side here, just a farthest from the building, and then the first lane will be right here along the sidewalk, so that students, whenever they walk out of that auxiliary gym door, they will be able to see families and identify their car, again, to go straight to that car. We will have some spots here painted on the sidewalk so that students, while they're waiting for their car to arrive, to be able to make sure that they're social distancing at that time as well. Families, it is very important, if your student is a car rider, that you try to get here just as close to that 8:45 dismissal bell as you can, so that we can make sure that your student can get in the vehicle and get away from the building in a prompt way, so that again we don't have congregation of students where it makes it difficult to maintain social distancing. Our third group of students that will be leaving the building are going to be our walkers. All of our walkers, we need you to, as soon as that bell rings, to go ahead and walk out of the building. We do encourage our walkers to leave from this southwest auxiliary gym door so that they can get away from the building in an appropriate and safe way. This is a view of the symbols that we have painted on the sidewalk so that students know exactly where to stand. And those are available not just on the car riders loop, but we will also have those available on the bus riders loop here on the courtyard, so that if students' bus is late for any reason, they know exactly where to stand and they can stand with an appropriate and safe distance. Again, we will have adults that will be out supervising both the arrival and dismissal procedures to make sure that everything goes smoothly and safely. We are looking forward to having students back in the building, and can't wait to see all of your smiling faces.